It's time for this weekend to conclude. We are finishing up the playoffs, and we are going to figure out who in Europe will be joining Fnatic in the midseason brawl. It's going to be freaking awesome. Sweden coming in a couple weeks. I'm Trixler. Got Caldor here. Caldor, are you excited for today?
Hell yeah, I am. This is going to
pumped.
be awesome. Team Liquid against Dignitas. It's going to be a great day.
That it is. Cawthon, you ready, man?
I am so excited to see how Team Liquid approaches the draft, seeing how effective certain heroes have been in the meta so far.
It's
wait.
really a big day for both of our teams. Let's go ahead and talk about the playoff bracket, how we got here. It's been 3 days of games. On Friday, we had 2. Playing Ducks and Tricked Esports started it off, and Tricked Esports came out and looked pretty darn dominant. Sonya, Ariel, really the theme of that draft. And later on, we had Team Expert and Tricked Esports face off, and it looked like Tricked had a chance to maybe knock out Expert, but Expert was able to push on through, and they got a 3-2.
That 5th map, it's always the 5th map on the side of Tricked.
Tricked not able to do it, but Expert moved on to Saturday. We watched them yesterday compete against Dignitas in game number 1. We thought possibly Bad Benny's claim of winning 3-0 could happen, but Dignitas decided to shut him down pretty quickly.
Bad Benny also predicted today's match. He said it's going to be an easy 3-0. I forgot for which team, but I hope that that's not going to be the case. I expect a close series here.
He's fully becoming a troll as of late. Today, I agree. I hope it's not going to be a 3-0. I'm hoping for all 5 games. It's really something that could happen. These teams are absolutely amazing. Let's go ahead and talk about the matches for both North America and Europe for today. Starting out, as mentioned, Team Liquid and Team Dignitas starting very soon. But later on, the action doesn't stop. Gale Force Esports and Team 8 going at it. And Cawthon, I love hearing your insight on these matches.
It's going to be good.
Okay.
I like it.
We have 3
Precise,
teams.
down to the point.
They've all been in a circular pattern the whole year. All 3 teams beat each other constantly, very even in scrims. It's going to be rough to see one of them not make it to the midseason, and everything's on the line. I mean, I think the teammate has a slight edge based on how they've been playing recently, but Gale Force is known for bringing very sneaky drafts to these very important sets, and so I expect them to steal at least a game or 2 with unexpected strategies.
Well, before I dive a little bit too much more into Europe, I just want to hear on that North American match who walks away with the victory. You first.
Teammate 3-2.
Teammate 3-2. Caldor?
I have to say that I think it's going to be Gale Force making it. Yeah, Team 8, we've been talking about it all season. They were a bit disappointing. I think they have it, but the experience would say Gale Force.
Yeah, I think I'm going to lean for Gale Force too. I just feel like they're a bit more hungry, especially after the first time with Team 8 looking so much stronger and coming out and dominating the Western Clash. I think Gale Force wants to prove themselves. But that will be happening later on. Let's talk about the match coming up next. Team Liquid and Team Dignitas. They're going to share their thoughts.
So after our poor performances in the HGC of Split 2, when we lost against the big boys, Fnatic and Dignitas, and then we also lost to Expert, which we did not expect at all. So after that performances, we sat together and we started to talk about what's going wrong. Why do we play worse than before? Is it the meta or is it just our play style? And we figured out that most of it comes down to our mindset. I really think that people lost confidence after losing the first 2 important series, and then it just comes down to the mentality. And after we talked about it, I think everyone started to trust each other again, and since then I feel like the scrims and hopefully our tournament results will be better again. And I do believe that we for sure have the shot to beat Dignitas, and I think the games will be very nice to watch.
Team Liquid is always a fantastic matchup. Obviously, you can look back over this past phase of HGC and also at the Western Clash, and we've always had really fantastic matchups against them. And I'd say generally, we're pretty confident about playing against them. If they're really feeling the meta and they know exactly what they're playing, then they're a definite contender for one of the best teams in the world. But it feels like quite often, if you can get an advantage and you have the stronger draft, that it becomes very difficult for them, it feels like. And their power level goes down a lot. So going into our matchup in the playoffs, I think if we make it to Team Liquid, we're confident that we can beat them. We've never missed an international event, and we're not about to start.
Oh, just chills right now as we get ready for the playoffs. It's so sad to me that only 2 teams can go. I would love for all 3 to go. You got Team Liquid, who day one has been wanting to go to every single regional and prove themselves because that's what they missed out on in 2016. They were dominant in their matches. They were always great online, but when it came to international matches, they always faltered. And so they wanted to prove themselves, but they've been lacking the last couple of weeks, and I hope they're back.
It's always so brutal. We talk about the big 3 all the time, and now only 2 of them can go once again. And yeah, today we're going to find out which one of the 2 is going to make it. It's going to be a great series.
Yeah, Dignitas has proven time and time again that every time that it's all on the line for them to make it to an international event, they always come through. And so I think Team Liquid has a tall order of getting past their demons in these important matches and taking out Dignitas.
The Germans have to show us some German efficiency today.
Yes, they do. Today is a time to change. If you're going to actually show up when it matters, today is the day they have to do it. Now, you at home have been talking about these matches for the last couple of days. We've got a couple of tweets to share as you guys constantly hit us up at Heroes Esports using the hashtag HGC. All right. The most exciting matches in the HGC are imminent. I love all 4 teams and have no idea who to root for. Good luck, have fun, everyone. Yes, North America and Europe are going to have great matches today.
Yeah, definitely. And of course the players all chipping in with this too. Hazop's here saying that in 2 hours, which is right now, they are going to play against Dignitas. And as they say, the loser has to watch from home. He's ready, and let's hope that the rest of his team is ready as well.
Perspective. That's what it all comes down to. Loser gonna have to sit at home and watch the matches. Bakery Heroes. Just over 1 hour left until our most important HGC series of the year. We take on Team Liquid to decide who goes to the mid-season brawl. And it all comes down to 1 best of 5. The first to 3, of course, will walk forward. Alex the Progy continuing to chip in. This guy has been pretty active on Twitter lately. Yeah. Make sure to follow him. Looking forward to Dig versus TL. My prediction is Dig is going to win 3-2. Most important online match this season of HGC.
He's not wrong. It's the most important match at this point. The only team that has qualified thus far is Fnatic, and now it's on Team Liquid and Dignitas to decide the second team to make it to Sweden. I want the games to start.
Well, Cawthon, you mentioned it yesterday. You've been watching Dignitas a lot. You faced off against them. You know how strong they can be. Do you think they can take out Team Liquid today? And do you prefer for them to go to the midseason brawl?
Just due to playing against them before and the fact that I personally enjoy playing against Mene and getting to see the style he brings on mages, I think it helps me personally grow as a player, so I would like to see them make it through. One of the things I'm most interested to see, though, is that even in our little village of NA, we're well aware of Darkmok and his prowess on melee assassins. And with Sonya making a resurgence in the meta big time here, I mean, when you think of Sonya, you think of Darkmok. Not only has he just been well known for being a strong melee assassin, but his most played hero in competitive is Sonya, a hero that's been in and out of the meta constantly. So the fact that he's so comfortable on that hero, I expect to see him on it this time.
I would love Kerrigan to make a comeback so that he can show his Kerrigan play again.
Especially with that new Uther being in the mix, could be a possibility. Let's go ahead and figure out which battleground we're going to for game number 1. It's time to get this party started. We're going to Dragonshire. Yes, we haven't seen Dragonshire for a little bit as of late. Dignitas going to it for game number 1.
I love Dragonshire. I love the map. I love watching it, and I love to see what the pros.
Was he hating on dragons yesterday? I can't remember.
No. Big difference here.
On dragons?
I was talking about Lily. I accept the dragons as my personal savior. That's fine. Dragons are cool. It's just the Lily.
He seems pretty upset. You don't want to mess up with that guy.
I got bodied from the left and the right, okay?
Well, we're going to dragons.
NA teamed up yesterday against Europe. The 2 of us, we have to talk about that.
We're going to talk about it later. We will. Dragon Knight going to be in the mix here as we're going to Dragonshire for game number 1. And this is definitely setting the tempo here for the series. Dragonshire is one of those battlegrounds that requires teamwork across the battleground. But of course, it also leaves that top laner in a spot where if they get ganked pretty often, you can put your opponents in a spot where it's like, I might be under fire here. And we'll see if Dignitas or Team Liquid can pull it off.
A map that regularly gives us Chen as a hero is good in my book.
Chen. You see Chen in EU here?
Yeah. 3 times.
Nice.
3 times? 3 times, yeah. Remember 3 times.
We're trying to bring him back in NA too, so more power to you.
Yeah. I don't really expect him necessarily in this match now, but it was always cool since on the solo lane you can just do so much with him. And we had him in a few times. With the style that we've seen the last few games, especially in the playoffs, I could see Leoric once again making a strong position at the top lane. But of course we talked about Sonya as well, so For the solo lane, there's a couple of options for the teams that are all going to be exciting to watch.
How early do you expect Nazebo to make an appearance in this draft? Granted, he's more prominent in NA than EU, but on this map, where the games always go long, that DK doesn't spike up till later. He's a pretty strong pick.
Team Liquid played him quite a bit, so if one of the two teams picks it up, I would more so look towards Team Liquid than Dignitas in this set. But the drafts already is kind of interesting, since we don't have a ban on Dehaka yet, so in Globals, only Falset has been targeted, for good reason, of course. Epic Mount after 20. I think the two of us talked also about that power spike just recently when we had this map. It's just insane, the mobility that you can use on this map to out-macro your opponent.
Yeah, it's one of the ways to deal with a potential level 20 Nazebo is to simply take control of the map through macro mechanics and not fight them directly. The Dehaka being up here is very tough to pass up on the 2-3 here, I would say, for those reasons we went over before. Level 20, Dehaka has the same kind of impact as Falstad as well at playing the macro game.
And it's one that we see very often from Darkmog in particular on this battleground. They go straight into the Dehaka when it is available. So the second and third pick definitely could be expecting it around this part of the draft, especially with the Numreg being made on the right side. You want to make sure that you have your rotation in, but we are going straight into the Nazebo.
Okay, so as we just said, if a team picks it up, it's more likely going to be Team Liquid. I have to admit, though, I expected it to come in later, not this early in the draft. And them letting the global pass for it is also interesting. So they don't really prioritize the solo lane in this setup, but instead go for Tyrael to complement Greymane, have also still the potential for a very aggressive dive, and then a Zebo to cater towards a late game on the map.
Yeah, I was surprised to see him go over the global here. That's more of an NA thing to do here, but perhaps Liquid was inspired by our NA games. As Kaldor agrees.
That's a possibility, yes.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Chance.
I know firsthand that Hazu has been watching the games yesterday. He was taking notes from North America. He knows it's always a great opportunity to learn, so that's what we're seeing reflected
Absolutely,
here.
absolutely.
Well, going into the bans here, I can't look at you seriously right now, Kaldor. Dignitas thinking about what they want to get rid of, and they move straight into the Arthas. Now, with the Nazebo getting picked up, is it pretty common to run a Dehaka with a Nazebo, or do you think you lack a little bit too much on the rotations and maybe too strong with a tank warrior?
I mean, they need a solo laner one way or the other. They have options. We've been talking about the Sonya, Darkmog on Sonya, Darkmog on Dehaka. There's also the option to go still into Leoric. Ragnaros is out there, so it comes in the end, I feel, down to what Dignitas uses for the solo lane. Probably Liquid is going to hold back a bit for that and is going to just hope that they know what matchup they have to engage into there.
Oh, Leoric being the ban here, or at least being hovered, wouldn't be a bad choice there. Leoric again kind of doing well in that top lane, but you do have to think about it. If we leave Leoric up, then you can go into that Sonya and do pretty well there.
Yeah, also when we talk about the bans, Arthas is an interesting ban for Team Dignitas. First of all, he synergizes really well with Greymane, but it's usually more so Dignitas that runs Arthas, especially Zelia is extremely strong on the hero, but they are known to switch him between the two frontliners. So they are the ones to ban the Arthas. Leo banned, so the top lane is already, we're starting to target a bit the top laner, the solo laner here. Dehaka taken now for Dignitas, so Liquid can, with their next pick, adapt and see that they just take a solo laner that has a good shot against them.
Dehaka, yeah, I was surprised to even see him fall this far in the draft. Seeing him pass up on the 3-4 would have been pretty astounding. I do like the Tychus pickup here. Gives them the option of extra siege into Nazebo with the Odin alone. Very, very useful for pushing down one lane and opening up a win condition.
Yeah, so the Ragnaros against Dehaka is going to be played up at the top, and Urega this time as the support. So yeah, at this point, Dignitas with their last pick here, but this is already shaping up to be a very cool start. And Team Liquid with that combo that we have seen on other maps, slowing down any kind of objective push with Ragnaros and Molten Core, and just making sure that the game really goes into that late game stage when Nazebo hits his power spike.
Yeah, Ragnaros with Nazebo has kind of been a classic combination. Yeah. It's so good at delaying out the map, and on a map like this where it's hard to end the game before those late game Dragon Knights, it's a perfect combination. We kind of saw Nazebos tend to get away from Ragnaros lately in NA, where they just throw them into any comp. But you see the Liquid had a plan here, and they really are counting on the Ragnaros to help them stall out the game, especially against the early game strength they're going to be facing here with Chromie.
Dignitas answering back with their own type of pressure, as you mentioned, with that Chromie, hoping to get some picks, especially on the bottom areas, and break down those forts and work towards those keep walls. If you can break down a fort and then get the dragon, maybe you can get aggressive before Ragnaros can be too effective overall. But wow, this is definitely going to be a match here. Obviously, Team Liquid for that late game, and Team Dignitas here on the right side. Has a solid top lane, has some nice potential with Tychus, but Chromie going to allow for them to siege upon their opponents.
That's definitely one of the biggest concerns at this point on the side of Team Liquid, that they have to make sure that Chromie is not shredding them apart in the early game. The entire idea is based around delaying the game for as long as they can.
Delay the game as long as you can, and they have the tools, man. Molten Core and Nazebo shelling away, and as you mentioned, Coffin, just on this battleground, it's so hard to actually just end the game with early dragons. They don't scale until about the 16, 18-minute mark where they actually become very scary. So the cards for Team Liquid for Game 1 looking pretty solid, but this is Dignitas' map choice, so they obviously have a plan, and they believe in Mane. When Mane is on that Chromie, he gets things done.
That's the amazing thing about Mane. You can throw him on any mage, and he is going to perform on it. So I'm really excited for it. At the same time, Chromie later on against Violent Infection Spiders, not having the easiest time.
Yeah, that makes me hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard.
It's the moment where you actually hope that you spec into bye-bye.
Yeah. I think what we're going to see from Dignitas here is extreme aggression in the early game. When you look at the amount of CC they have, the amount of burst damage, not just with the Chromie spells, with the Tychus percentage damage, I think they're actually going to be looking to take advantage of Blumby's aggressive positioning, and I think they will target the Tyrael intentionally over and over in the early and mid game and try to get an advantage there.
Especially with that Malfurion in the silence. Let's go ahead and get game number 1 started here. We're going to Dragonshire. It's Team Liquid taking on Dignitas, who will go to Sweden.
Game number 1 in our final match in the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen, the best of 5 series between Team Liquid and Team Dignitas. Over to the left side in blue, we have Hazorps on Greymane, Blumby on Tyrael, Nurok for Team Liquid is playing on Nazebo, Darkmog on Ragnaros, and Rega, played by Splendor.
Dignitas to the far right in the red. Bakery will start it off with the Malfurion gameplay. We're going to have JPL on a Nubarak. Watch for him to dive on into those fights. Snitch here will be playing Tychus. We're going to have Mane on the Chromester, and Zalia will be finally up in the top with the Dahaka.
Absolutely hyped for the game now, and the really cool thing is, again, that synergy that we see between Ragnaros and Nazebo, trying to use Ragnaros to slow down the map. And the best tool that he has to do that is his Molten Core. Whenever Dignitas is going to take a Dragon Knight, there will be a Molten Core as an immediate response, trying to burn down the objective as fast as they can. It's a great tool to help you secure structures and just carry into the late game when Nazebo can finally unfold his full potential and get the Violent Infection into play.
And what I like about that is we've had an evolution of strategy against the Ragnaros. They'll try to force him to use that Molten Core in a lane. Oh, hang on here. We have Hasu getting picked up there at the bottom, as he's going to be taken away. I'm not sorry. Or actually, Nurok, sorry. On the Nazebo taken away. But the evolution of the Ragnaros play is you get the Molten Core to get popped up, and then you go for a massive rotation to the other side of the map and burn down structures in that area. Dignitas will continue to try to do that later on in the game when that Molten Core gets used.
And as we said, Dignitas has to be aggressive in the early game. They are the ones who are trying to end this a bit faster. They are the ones to really initiate this aggression. And we saw it perfectly as Hazu was taken down on Nazebo. If you can get a good double stun in with JPL, it's exactly what he's trying to do here. Burrowing in, stunning the target, and getting the follow-up stun after that. Chromie has a great setup where she can dish out the damage with a good combo and make sure that she can kill the target. That's what happened with Nazebo, and Ragnaros at the top lane barely moved out of it.
In the middle, we're having our two teams fight. JPL is taking some damage here from Splendor. Rhaegar really solid against our Nubarak, bringing out those auto attacks, of course, bringing out that bite. You can drink him down to about 3/4 of health right away. If you have an assassin to follow up like Hasselhobbs on the Greymane, boy, you can burn through a Nubarak.
And right now, Team Liquid just trying to delay this a bit. Also, Hazorps, of course, stacking his level 1 talent on Nazebo, trying to get those spider stacks with the Widowmaker. And the level 4 early on in already.
All right, we're going to see our teams continue to move back and forth. Mane shelling away, but the wave clear not quite here for Dignitas, and Team Liquid will go from aggressive plays. Rhaegar gets sniped, though, as Mane lands the shots.
Mane landing the shots here, Rhaegar down, and as we just saw as well, you pointed out too, we have in this case Nurok on the Nazebo.
Yeah.
Hazorps actually playing the Greymane this time. That's very uncharacteristic for Team Liquid for their usual play. An interesting change they made there.
Yeah, big change overall. It threw me off, too. Hasselhobbs typically plays at Nazebo, and then Greymane is typically played by Darkmog. But now Nurok on the Nazebo. Greymane played by Hasselwabs, and we're going to have Darkmok on the Ragnaros in the top. Crazy how these hero pools really overlap for the team. Will it pay off? We'll find out soon, as Dignitas has taken a pretty solid lead so far.
It's actually super interesting. I'm already looking at my own notes here. As I said, I'm watching a ton of scrims with these guys, and both of them have played the Greymane in the past quite a fair bit. But normally it's Hasselwabs who's a little bit more dominant on the Nezebo. So this is a cool setup and a cool change they made here, feeling a bit more confident and just applying the pressure a bit differently. We have at the same time now the 3 kills against Team Liquid. So Dignitas is really coming out of this swinging. They want to have the aggression. They go again for a kill. Blumby is solo, barely able to get away. Oh my
They get it.
God,
Wow.
they get it.
Incredible control and the heads-up play from JPL. So Bakery actually saw Blumby go into that bush. JPL blindly went to a spot where he assumed they would be, and they have the lockdown right away with the Chromie follow-up as well. Dignitas going in for the aggressive plays, and it's paying off 4-0.
As we said earlier, the whole idea for Team Liquid is stall the game. They are okay getting beaten up in the early game. The problem is they need to still make sure that they don't fall too far behind. 4 kills against you this early, it's still fine. Only half level
Manageable,
lead
yeah.
for Dignitas. It's still okay, but they can't continue this way. This is the important part.
Well, Dignitas is going to grab the first dragon of the game here at 4 minutes. And it's what you do. You put pressure in the middle lane right away. You're trying to force that Ragnaros to rotate down. But Dahaka in the top lane has actually gotten incredibly aggressive. He's making sure that Ragnaros cannot leave that lane easily.
Ragnaros nearly died at the top lane. He barely got towards the well and was able to tap here. So Dahaka doing an excellent job. And Team Liquid, they have to be worried here. The Molten Core comes into play now. They're going to try and burn down Snitch, but Dignitas is getting farther and farther ahead in experience as they take down towers.
Zelia, always in the Dahaka, is just impressive. I like how he knew what he had to do there to make sure Ragnaros cannot be effective. Now, a counterattack from Team Liquid. As they move in, the drag comes out on Hasselwabs to stop him from using the cocktail to kill off Snitch. Zelia, once again, making a second massive play this game.
Zelia is a fantastic player.
I love him. He's
the
so
one,
good.
The thing is, he's one of the players that always gets highlighted when you talk about Dignitas, what an impact he has on their performance. And he's not the only one. We have a fantastic support with Baker. We have Mena, one of the best mages in Europe, if not the best mage. This team consists of so many top players, and they are heading into a very, very early level 10 against Team Liquid now, giving them a massive power spike as we continue with this first map.
Well, Dignitas has all these playmakers. Team Liquid as a team, if they trust each other, they will deliver the final blow and get into victories. For now, they're not looking too good. Slightly behind, but remember, we've talked about it in the draft. This is a late game composition. Dignitas, though, moving in for aggressive plays. They use Cocoon. Blumby takes some damage, but is able to retreat.
So Blumby this time gets out. It's still the level 10 that worries them. They have to try and sit back a bit farther, soak the experience, and just hope to get their own heroic abilities. That's the most important part. Again, Tyrael in trouble, and he is eliminated. Dignitas with another good combo, using the slowing stance on the side of Chromia as well to assist a bit. And this results in them now also grabbing a fort. So everything is going according to plan for Dignitas.
Yes, they want to grab a fort now, and they did do so. And the next goal is to move out a keep or open up the middle of the map with the next fort takeout. Now, shrines are activating in 20 seconds. Team Liquid will finally be in a decent spot as they'll be hitting level 10, which finally allows for them to be in a spot where they can get more aggressive. First off, Blumby, not going to die as much here. He can move into a sanctification if he would like to, and then set up his teammates for actual fights. And that way, this aggressive play from Dignitas can be nullified.
Yeah, so they need to try and shut Dignitas down a bit. The problem for Team Liquid is really the deficit in experience. They're 2 levels down. They need to slow the game down, as we said in the beginning. As long as they reach 20 and haven't lost too many keeps, they are still in a decent spot. Losing forts in the bigger scheme of things is fine for them. The problem really comes down to when are you going to lose your keeps? Are you in a position where you can hold on to the keeps until you hit your power spike? If they can manage that, they're going to be fine. But in order for it to happen, they need to try and make sure that Dignitas doesn't get too far ahead in the experience.
And they set themselves up pretty well to make sure they don't lose those keeps. They've put Nezebo and Rhaegar, probably some of their best wave clear, besides the Greymane when he goes into Worgen form, to clear out that bottom lane constantly. They're not allowing minions to move past where the fort originally was. It's a great way for them to manage it. Now, in the top, Ragnaros is in trouble.
Yeah, Cocoon used. Snitch is moving in now too. This is not looking good for him.
Nope.
Not at all.
Impaled, drag.
Easiest tongue of Zelia's life. JPL with a stun, and then the drag comes in. Snitch says thank you and burns the target down, and that is kill number 6 for Team Dignitas as they grab the level 13 talent. Liquid now at least gets a few of the structures at the bot lane. That's experience for them. They have to make sure to save Nurok, and they're able to do that as JPL just comes a tiny bit too late to go for the flank.
And 2 shrines grabbed equals 1 dragon. That is simple math here. Zelia grabs it and will start to push in the middle. Molten Core is available. Ragnaros is on his way to the middle of the map.
Liquid couldn't do anything to interrupt. And they are interrupting the Molten Core now though, and that's a problem. Darkwalk all of a sudden finds himself also at less than half HP thanks to Mena, who used the opportunity to get his combo off, and that is another key that has just fallen. Odin being popped in the backline. Dignitas moving in.
Dig is just doing everything right now. Pushing in the middle, getting a fort. Odin helps them siege down the wall. They don't mind not getting keep here. They just want to get the wall opened up for the next opportunity when they can push in. When the Molten Core finishes up and they can get a pick, they can go for a play or move to the top and start beating on the fort. Looks like the answer is going to be going on to the top here and retreating down to start grabbing Mercs.
Dignitas is just doing what they have to do. Get experience, make sure you had your power spikes, go for the objective, and then push structures. And they are about to eliminate all the forts in the game. Now to the top lane. Liquid had a camp pushing, and this is now resulting in the wall taken out. The second tower falls. More experience for Liquid, and they are starting to really work towards their next talent level. But they need to get some kills. They need to get a presence on the map. It's not really a situation in which they need to push Dignitas back and win big team fights, but they need to at least get some momentum so that they don't fall too far behind, because currently Dignitas is looking at a 2.5 level lead already.
Dignitas just open up the map wherever they would like, and Team Liquid, in order to move forward, are grouping up as 5. With them getting 13, they would have a window here to get into a fight where Dignitas doesn't have a lead in talents, but nothing is being presented. This is very similar to what we saw of Dignitas yesterday when they faced off against Expert. When they had a lead, they were aggressive on the map. The moment anything was remotely even, they rotated around and made sure to soak to get that 16.
Dignitas controls everything at this point. They're doing really well with this. They're trying to jump back down. The cocoon is being used, and that will force the sanctification. Blumby is waiting, drops the sanct, and they're trying to retreat here. They're moving out. They're not even attempting to fight, but the drag is good, and Blumby falls. It looks like Splendor Fall is in a second too. That's a double kill. Dignitas is destroying this game.
Destroying. Nice late aggression from Mane on that Chromie too. Just dropping into Q there to force the Sanctification to come out because the threat of damage hitting the Greymane was very terrifying. And then afterwards, he followed up with the Dragon's Eye. Nice maneuver overall, and this opens up aggressive pushes here from Dignitas as they pop Odin and move in for keep damage.
They go in, take the wall down. That opens up an opportunity later on. Straight move for the keep with the Dragonite. They have, it's insane. They have a 3-level lead. Nothing is going Team Liquid's way. It's 0 kills against 8. They would have been okay sacrificing a few structures, getting killed in the early game, but it's just too much. It's the amount to which it happens that is the big problem for Team Liquid.
This is the 3rd time that we have seen Dignitas play against an Azebo, and they just put out the hyper-aggression. Here, look at this play here. Kumian drop down. We have Blumby working around, drops Sanctification. You see 1 Q from Mane to look scary. He drops the time tap near him, and now he's able to help out with the kill as he drops a Dragon's Eye on Splendor on the back left. JPL follows it up while Snitch gets the auto attacks out there. The coordination, the crispness is amazing here for this team.
And now we have that Dragonite that we've been talking about. Darkwalk needs to go for the Molten Core, and he needs to make sure that JPL cannot interrupt him. JPL is looking for it a bit too late, moves out immediately, and at this point in time, Team Liquid is just desperately trying to hold on to their keep as Dignitas is barreling down the bot lane.
Blumby takes some siege there, but that's why a Nubrak is so good against Ragnaros. You can step up and be very aggressive, and if you don't hit that impale, you just burrow charge away, and you don't get hit with the Molten Swing. Dignitas will wait out the duration of Molten Core and turn around and start applying pressure to the keep.
Oh my god, Mena with the damage. The Androcell go through. The Cocoon is being used, but maybe JPL falling, not quite. The keep is down, and that's only 12.5 minutes into the game on Dragonshire of all maps.
Dignitas has yet to lose a single person in this match. They have been on point in their movement and in securing kills. The best defense so far for them has been offense. Their offense has been incredibly aggressive, and it continues to work out for them.
Liquid has a late game strategy. Dignitas understands that perfectly, and they are saying, we need to be aggressive. We need to be the ones driving the game. If we become passive at any point, we allow Team Liquid time to reach the 20, and then we are in trouble. We need to, if not end the game before that happens, at least take a few of the keeps, and that's what they do. They already have the bot keep, and they open the wall in the middle. They are looking incredibly strong here, and they still maintain nearly a 3-level lead over their opponents.
Let's talk about Team Liquid and how they get back in this game. The first step is getting 16. 16, you get Holy Ground. Finally, they get into a spot where they can control members that are a little bit too forward. Maybe the Tychus is a little bit too aggressive. You drop a Holy Ground, get some Nazebo damage in, maybe a Ragnarus Flare Smash, and you can get a kill. Secondly, they have to get to 20 after at least one more Dragon. If they can clear out one more Dragon and not lose another keep, they'll be in an okay spot.
Nurok in so much trouble. Cocoon already being used. Ragnaros from behind. 16 versus 16, but Nazebo is dead and Darkmork is also bleeding. He's in trouble as another stun comes out. Sanctification is on the ground. They're desperately trying to get a kill here. Gary is on the move. The Gargantian attempting to pressure Mene back. But there's the Ancestral out as more and more shots are being fired by Chromie from the backline.
Mene is not missing these Dragon Eyes. He has missed 0 with no setup, which is pretty insane to me there. He lands one on hostile ups, and the moment that Greymane goes down to a quarter health, they have to retreat. They can't go in for an engage. They can't dive a back line because of Malfurion roots.
This is looking incredibly crisp what Dignitas shows. Liquid now is on level 16.5 against level 19. They lost one keep, and their big concern has to be what happens when Dignitas reaches 20. Because then Dignitas has a very big time frame that they can use to maybe even end the game. And that's something that Liquid's trying to deny. They're trying to deny the Dragon Knight, but this is another kill. Dignitas has 10 kills against 0 now, making it look easy here on the first map.
Game number 1 looking closer and closer to being done as Dignitas grabs the bottom shrine, Zelia heads to the middle, and he'll grab that dragon. And you mentioned it earlier, with that keep going down the bottom left, this is an opportunity for Dignitas to move in and start looking for core damage or even grab a second keep if Team Liquid sets up well for defense.
And it looks like they are attempting to go for the core. They're not moving into the mid lane just yet. The Dragon Knight on the way. Here comes the Molten Core, trying to burn it down. Catapults are here. But no matter what, if they get another keep, they're going to be very happy about it. If they see an opportunity to go for core, they'll use it too. They're in a fantastic spot to completely dictate the pace of the few remaining minutes of this game.
And if they get one kill, they hit 20. 20 again, giving them sword talents that can be aggressive with JPL in the front line, taking damage here. Team Liquid desperately doing as best they can for defense, and they clear the dragon down to less than a quarter health, but they lose the keep in the process.
It's the only thing Dignitas needed to do. More, of course. If we get more, then yes, we're going to take it. But as long as the keep is down, we're fine. We're completely cool. Now they have 3 levels in which they hold Storm Talons over Team Liquid. 3 levels in which they can get another Dragon Knight and either drop the last remaining keep or go for the core directly.
And there's 2 major Storm Talents there that really scare me. First off, Rewind on a Nubarak, which you can get a Cocoon into an Impale, into a Burrow Charge, into another Impale and Burrow Charge, which means set up for Chromie damage. But of course, Malfurion with the Bolt into the Twilight Drain. That's lights out for Greymane or Nazebo if it connects before either A, Ice Block goes off, or Greymane can escape.
Everything is scary with this setup. It's not only that. Think about Chromie's 20. The incredible slow to 80%. And if then you get a nuke in with the Odin, with a big red button, it's lights out. They are so strong at this point. And for Team Liquid to come back into this, they need to win a team fight. Maybe a trap set up somewhere where they can all of a sudden surprise Dignitas. The problem just is it doesn't seem like this is an option in this game. Dignitas is playing incredibly crisp. They are making no mistakes, and they are just not offering Team Liquid any options to exploit a situation.
I mean, what do you need to get a comeback started? 1 kill. If Team Liquid can find that 1 kill somewhere, get a little bit of experience coming their way, and find some momentum, you can put Dignitas on the back foot as you move towards level 20. Dignitas, though, moving in for an aggressive play. They Burrow Charge. Darkmok is dragged here on the right. Ragnaros getting low on health.
Ragnaros is about to fall. He's already down. And already JPL moving in. The Astral are coming out, and Sanctification on the ground. They are turning for potential counter kill, but it does not look likely. The slows from Chromie, and everyone capitalizes on it. Oh my god, Chromie with the damage drops, and then also, of course, Tychus just chunking away. It's a team wipe. 15 kills against 0. And Dignitas on their way to the core.
The Bridge of Death sealing the deal here for Team Liquid. They fall down to Dignitas in game number 1. Dignitas just on point, and they'll be up 1-0 in this series.
That was dominant, extremely so. There was absolutely no way for Team Liquid to come into this. As we said before, we had a chance for Liquid to make it into the late game, or there was the big hope. Dignitas understood that, and they shut them down from the get-go.
That game was everything I wanted and expected to see from Dignitas. Dignitas, masters of early game aggression, and also, I love seeing stall comps punished. I love seeing teams that base their play style around getting to 20 and winning them. Just the fact that teams in these higher seeded matches are really taking the fight to these Nazebo comps early. The way that they targeted the Tyrael early, got those picks, and then as soon as they got an advantage, you see them using the Odin just to push down forts and open up future paths. Like, that is fantastic. You don't need the Odin to win the team fights. Your team is strong enough early. You just want to use him to open up walls, open up like forts, get those win conditions set early. And his damage from the minigun is enough to like control the map and put on gank pressure. So it was a great pickup from Dignitas there.
I'm hearing that you actually have 2 replays for us to actually point out some of the things that he just mentioned. So let's go ahead and check out these replays. Coffin, walk us through it.
Okay, so here we're going to be highlighting some of the ways they use Cocoon super aggressively in order to force, basically force team fights when they have the advantage, which is basically at all times when you're up against a stall comp like this before they get to the late game. And so we're waiting for some key cocoons here, but it's a combination of Cocoon, Chromie Burst, and the Sands that set Tyrael up for a world of pain over and over again through the course of this game. They get the first kill on Tyrael there. You see the Odin popped. The Odin wasn't necessary at all for the fight, but the siege damage it provides is super good. Here we're going to look for another aggressive Cocoon while the rest of his team gets into position. Look at the way they set this up so that even after he's freed from the Cocoon, you are not in a position where you want to fight there as Team Liquid. There's already a Sands that is ramped up. He put the Sands down ahead of time, so it's already an incredible slow. Forces Tyrael to use the Sanctification basically just to avoid the slow from those Sands. However, you can't avoid all the damage spread about from the range of Chromie, the multiple CCs that Dignitas has. Basically, as soon as that Cocoon ended, there were so many options that Dignitas had to just choose any target and destroy it with Sanct down. There was no way that Liquid was going to get out of there unscathed.
Ragnar was also not even in the fight. He was still at the top lane, rotating bot, and before he even arrived, the fight was already over.
Yeah, that was one of the great things about Cocoon. You get to decide where a team fight happens, and if someone's on the other side of the map, it's going to be rough.
So what do you even do against something like that? Do you just not play these stall comps, or do you just have to like give that person up in a fight?
Well, I mean, if you're going to dedicate yourself that hard to a stall comp, you have to expect that a strong team is going to look to punish you early. And if you can't handle that level of aggression, if you're going to have people picked off as frequently as Team Liquid did, you need to think about doing some other sort of tactics for the late game.
It's basically when you look at the composition, Team Liquid has to say, yes, we are confident enough that we can keep ourselves alive long enough to get value out of the comp. But as you said, if they get picked on the map, if they don't see these rotations happening, and if they move too far out on the lane, with the new Barak always waiting for an opportunity, you use that ult, then you fall too far behind. And I think we ended at 15-0 kills, and
Incredible.
the first keep fallen at 12:30. And that is just way too much pressure. So Dignitas played it perfectly, and Team Liquid just not able to stall the game out.
Well, Dignitas' coordinated aggression will net them 1 win. Can Team Liquid change it up for game number 2? We'll find out.